Hey guys, welcome to Sippin' and Spillin' with Sid from 3 Mississippi. And man, it's been a day. Whew, it has been a day. You need to take a sip. It's been a day. Mm. I've been in the Bat Cave doing a bit of editing. Um, had to move some files first because, every once in a while you gotta move all your files and reorganize things so that, when you're working on stuff and you've moved stuff on your hard drive or whatever. Anyway, my thing was full and I had to shift things around, and so that took me a little while before I could even start editing because that kind of holds up the process. That was my own fault. I knew it was coming because I hadn't done it in a minute. So that was my own fault. Can't blame anybody but moi. That's French for dummy. Uh, but uh, but anyway, I got that done, and I got to at least start on the beginning of the video, and I have all the footage for the video finally. So that's a win. I'll get hopefully I can finish editing it mañana and get it all done. Um, and then I do these things to myself, guys. I got a little overwhelmed between last week and this week. I signed myself up for too many things at once and I don't realize it. And then I go into a little bit of panic mode. So, for example, I already had a few things that I had to kind of deal with. And, Frankie's very busy with her FFA schedule, and they kind of kicked those up to, like, she was having practices. In fact, that's where I'm going right now, is to go pick her up. I was supposed to not have to pick her up today because she has volunteer hours she's supposed to do. And she was supposed to just stay at school, and we were going to pick her up after our church meeting tonight because she was going to go get her volunteer hours in at the concession stand at school for her beta program thing. Well, the game got canceled. And so she texted me like late last night or this morning. I don't even remember whenever it was she found out. It all blends together in my brain, so I don't remember. And said, "Hey, I just found out this is what's happening." And I was like, "Okay, so I don't, like, you'll just come home on the bus tomorrow?" And she's like, "No, I have FFA. You have to come get me still." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, well, so much for that." So I still have to go into town and make 2 trips into town, back and forth and back and forth. But it is what it is, because we still have to go to our church meeting. So, which is fine. That's life. Sometimes there's some days I make 14 trips into town, and then there's days that days at a time, sometimes, where I don't drive anywhere. So I guess in the end, it all evens out. I don't know. But she stepped up that schedule. Then she's decided that she really wanted to go out for the color guard team. Well, in order to go out for the color guard team, you have to go to the rehearsals for, I think it's like a month of like solid rehearsals. And those are like twice a week for the next month or something like that. I don't even know. But they're late at night. I mean, late for me. They're from like 6 to 7 at night. So it's normally the time that I would be like, it's hard for moms because it's like, we have to plan what to make for dinner, get the dinner cooked, have time to actually eat the dinner, so it's just an awkward time of night because I don't like to eat dinner late. It's also Lent right now, so there's some days that I'm fasting for Lent and there's some days that I'm not. And so anyway, if it's on a day where then I have to try to eat really early because if I've already fasted, then I'm going to be really hangry. So, I'm trying to keep everything, all the sticks in the air, okay? Keep all the plates spinning, doing all the things. So we're letting her try out for this thing because Mike and I talked about it, and I said, look, as long as her chores don't slack off, she's a good kid. She really wants to try out for this thing. I don't know why she wants to twirl a flag so bad. Apparently she has this burning desire to do so. I think she's more likely to give herself a concussion with this pole. But, I think if we tell her no and that we think it's silly to want to twirl a flag, then she's just going to romanticize it even more. And it's, everything is temporary. So it's fine. I can deal with it. And he's like, well, you're the one that's going to have to deal with it. So if you're okay with it, then I guess mazel tov. So anyway, and I said, and she may not even make the team. We could be stressing over this over nothing. Let her go to the tryouts. We'll see if she makes the team, whatever. So anyways, but she's got to go to these rehearsals for a month. So add that into the schedule, which again, did not know until this last week that this was going to be happening. And then I was stressing because I was finishing up the taxes, which I got those done. But that's always a stressful time because there's just lots of things to deal with that. And then, we were getting a couple other surprises that are coming out on a video at the end of this week, hopefully. Well, they will be coming out at the end of this week. Provided Mike posts it on time. It should be out on Friday on Through Mississippi. But that was not stressful, but it was something I had to deal with and get ready for. And exciting, but still like a thing, a time crunch thing. Well, I also, in the midst of all of this, signed myself up to help with a local homeschooling group. Some of the girls in my Bunko group, which is the crazy dice game that crazy old ladies play, are homeschoolers, and they're doing this 19th century kind of Pride and Prejudice inspired dinner, and they've learned about like contra dancing, which is that style of dancing that you see on Bridgerton, and anytime you see a period piece movie, that's what they're doing, Well, I was like, how hard can it be? I've taught dance for years. I'll find something on YouTube. And I was like, sure. She's like, can you teach it? I know you have a dance background and you used to teach. And I'm like, sure. I'm like, I can teach the class. No big deal. And I said, just find me the specific dances that you want taught. And she's like, well, there's nothing specific. Just, anyone will do. So when I start looking for dances, come to find out, it is like, basically, she might as well have said, I want you to teach the kids how to speak Aramaic or Latin. Like, find a dead language and teach it to the kids. Read the Dead Sea Scrolls to them. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So down into the deep dive, I went on the interwebs, and it was a lot. And there's a lot of modern contra dancing, which is not the same. I have learned. I am now a wealth of knowledge when it comes to contra dancing. But anyway, I've spent far too much time on it, and I'm very nervous about teaching this event of 20 teenagers, some of which I know. I think all the moms that are going to be there. But I think I've got it. I found a good enough amalgamation of a couple routines and decent enough music to go with it that will work. But what I learned through this deep dive is basically the dancing that you see in the movies is a little bit made up, because they don't really have a clear record of it, which I thought was interesting, because I just assumed that was what they did, like that was the actual dance, but it's not. At least not from what I'm finding reading all these histories of dance things. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, so I've got that going on this week. And so I've made myself some dance flow charts. So it'll be, those of you that have ever done dance or choreography, you make yourself a little flow cheat sheet so that when you're instructing, you can look down at it and you can be like, especially when you're doing like formations, which this is a heavy formation thing, and you're dealing with 20 kids at once trying to get them in a formation. Just pray for me, guys. This could be a hot soupy mess, but I think it'll be fine. I've taught worse. I think we'll find out, but I think it's going to be fine. I've gone over it a bunch. I'm going to go over it a bunch more for the next 2 days, and then I'm just going to make the sign of the cross and go with the Lord and hope that the wind is in my favor. So, but I do these things to myself. I think, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I signed myself up, in the midst of all of this, I signed myself up for doing children's time again, which I've done several times, and I enjoy doing it. But sometimes I don't realize that it's the same week that I have 47 other things going on, and I really like to kind of dedicate myself a little bit to the lesson more. And so I kind of screwed up, and now I know what the lesson is. I already knew what the lesson was going to be when I signed up for it, because I was very inspired when I had run across this one lesson, and I thought, ooh, next time they're asking for people to sign up again, that's the lesson I'm going to do. That's a really good lesson. And it actually goes really well with this being Lent and everything as well. So I thought, well, that'll be a really good one. I was really inspired by it. And so, but I really wanted to kind of flush it out a little bit more. And I like to practice it when no one's home, because I can't practice it when they're home, because then they hear me talking to myself. And so then Bunko ends up hearing it on the front porch while I'm having my coffee a lot. So he could probably teach the children's time perfectly if I were to get stage fright. But long story short is I signed myself up for all these things, all in the space of like a week and a half, 2-week period. All these things that I got overbooked and overwhelmed, all simultaneously, while we also signed ourselves up for this weekly church meeting thing in addition to our regular duties. Anyway, it's a little bit much right now. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by all of the places that I have to be all the time and keeping it straight. And I'm terrified that because there's so many things of be here, be there, go there, do this, be here, do that, whatever, I'm going to A, forget to pay the water bill, B, end up at the wrong place at the wrong time, or C, forget to wear underwear, or all three at once. That's the direction that it's heading. So I don't know, man. Like, I might need just a bit of a break. I'm just feeling stretched a little thin, I guess is where I'm at right now. Which I guess I shouldn't feel that way. Like, I'm not, I've had more stressful periods in my life, for sure. 100%. I've had more stressful periods in my life where I have worked, 95-hour weeks, and I took naps in between my shifts, and I had, hour-long commutes to work, and I've had it worse before. I have a much more leisurely schedule in the scheme of things now, for sure. But in some ways, I have a lot more responsibilities now than I did then. I didn't have Frankie then. I didn't have, pastures full of livestock that depend on me. I didn't have those things going on then. So it changes the level of severity, I guess you could say, of things, and the importance of staying on top of it. There's things that you can kind of let slide, like, oh, I didn't get the dishes done. I'll get to them tomorrow. I'll take a break today. But you can't say, oh, I didn't go feed everybody today. Can't do that. Oh, I didn't go muck everybody's pens out, or I didn't work on this, or I didn't train, or this fence has a hole in it, but I don't feel like patching it today. No, you have to deal with it, and you have to deal with it now. That's just the nature of the beast. So that's the way it goes. But anyway, guys, this too shall pass. Like I said, one of my favorite sayings is everything is temporary. The good and the bad. Enjoy the good while it lasts and get through the bad. And this isn't even bad, guys. I can't complain. I just stretched myself a little too thin. I need to pay a little more attention to my calendar when I sign myself up for all the things at once. That's all I have to say about that. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you as always. I hope you're having an amazing day, and stay blessed. And remember, safety's off.